The origins of the British Empire, 16. It began with the expansion of the islands of Great Britain in the century. The political union of England, Scotland and Wales during this period led to the formation of the Kingdom of Great Britain in 1707. This unification increased the political and economic power of Britain. 18. At the beginning of the century, with the incorporation of Ireland into the United Kingdom, Britain also brought the island of Ireland under its sovereignty. These mergers formed the first steps in the process of Britain becoming a global power. Over the centuries, the foundations of the British Empire were strengthened by the political and economic steps taken after these mergers. The further expansion of the empire took place through a process of cultural and military expansion built on these roots. The British Empire, 1720 of the century. It experienced a period of significant expansion that lasted until the turn of the century. This expansion took place through exploration, overseas trade, military successes and colonization policies. Especially 18 and 19. Over the centuries, strategic regions such as India, Africa, Asia, the Pacific Islands and the Americas came under British rule. This expansion process increased Britain's economic power and allowed it to establish trade networks around the world. At the same time, it consolidated its military power and naval dominance. This period of expansion allowed Britain to acquire territories around the world, control resources, and become a global empire. This process has enabled Britain to play a decisive role in international relations and global politics. 19. At the beginning of the century, the British Empire became one of the leading forces of the world economy with the Industrial Revolution. British manufacturing products, textiles, iron, coal and other industrial goods were in great demand around the world. The export of these products has enabled Britain to play a decisive role in global trade. At the same time, the resources that Britain obtained from its overseas territories further increased its economic power. The empire had a wide range of resources, from Indian gold and diamond mines to the natural resources of Africa. This economic power greatly contributed to the expansion of Britain's empire and its continued dominance in world trade. During this period, while London became the world financial center, the British banking and financial system also played an influential role on a global scale. The British Empire was governed by a central government, and this government was supported by a strong monarchical system and parliament. Parliament played an important role in determining the internal affairs of England, as well as policies throughout the empire. In addition, different management models and policies were adopted for different regions and colonies within the empire. For example, some large colonies, such as India, were ruled directly by Britain, while in some other regions local governments and leaders had partial autonomies under British rule. This diversity helped Britain to keep its different cultural and political structures together under its decadence model, creating a political structure compatible with the breadth and diversity of the empire. The British Empire also played a powerful and influential role culturally. With the spread of the English language and culture to different parts of the world, English literature, the legal system, sports and other cultural elements have been adopted in many countries. The spread of the English language, in particular, has ensured that it is still used as an official language in Britain's former colonies and has played an important role in communication around the world. In addition, the literary heritage of Britain has reached a wide readership worldwide with the works of famous authors such as Shakespeare, Dickens, Austen. Britain's legal system is still used effectively in many former colonies and is considered a legal reference point throughout the world. In addition, sports such as football, cricket, golf have also become part of the cultural influence of Britain, gaining popularity around the world. This cultural influence continued in the long term even after the dissolution of the British Empire. The British Empire has a history of being criticized for its colonial policies. The empire adopted harsh and coercive policies against the indigenous peoples in various regions. These policies included practices such as the exploitation of local resources, the suppression of indigenous economies, and cultural assimilation efforts. Especially in regions such as India, Africa, and some Pacific islands, local peoples have openly expressed their discontent with Britain's policies. Practices such as economic exploitation, taxation policies, and forced acquisition of agricultural products have negatively affected the living conditions of local peoples, and this has led to riots in some regions. These colonial policies remain the focus of criticism and debate in the historical legacy of the British Empire. 20. From the beginning of the century, a marked weakening in the power and influence of the British Empire began to be seen. The First and Second World Wars significantly depleted the resources and economic power of the empire. The wars led to the military, economic, and political weakening of the empire. In addition, independence movements in the colonial regions have led to the disintegration of the empire and the emergence of independent nations in various regions. In particular, India's independence in 1947 was the turning point in the dissolution of the empire. Similarly, independence movements have also been influential in other colonial regions, and the influence of Britain has gradually decreased. This process resulted in the withdrawal of the British Empire from the global stage and the emergence of independent nations. Despite the fall of the British Empire, its cultural, political, and economic heritage still exerts its influence around the world. Especially in many former colonial countries, English is still used as the official language, and this language continues to play an important role in international communication. In addition, Britain's legal system and governance models remain influential in most of the former colonial countries, and still form the basis of the legal framework. However, some positive effects of the imperial period are still felt today. For example, the British education system and infrastructure projects have had a positive impact on education and development in many former colonial countries. In addition, concepts such as democracy and the modern understanding of law have also been adopted in many countries as part of the English heritage. This heritage still makes the historical and cultural impact of the British Empire felt in today's world. The British Empire has been criticized throughout its history for its colonization and imperialist policies. Some historians and activists argue that the effects of the empire had negative effects on local cultures, economies, and communities. Especially during the colonial period, issues such as the oppression of local economies, the exploitation of resources, cultural assimilation policies, and repressive management practices are in the focus of criticism. In addition, the injustices experienced during the empire, racism, and decolonistic discourses are among the subjects that are often criticized. These criticisms have contributed to increasing the ongoing debate and awareness in society and the academic world about the history and effects of the British Empire. These criticisms allow us to understand the effects of the imperial period and its historical legacy from a broader perspective. Today, the effects of the British Empire are still felt in many areas. However, the imperial era is now behind us. The United Kingdom continues to play an influential role in the global economy internationally. Britain's legacy of the old empire still remains, especially in areas such as finance, education, and cultural influences. However, the place and power of the United Kingdom in international relations today differ compared to the years during the empire. During this period, the United Kingdom is coping with factors such as the process of leaving the European Union and the changing balances in global politics. Although it is no longer a power with large territories as it was during the empire, the United Kingdom still exists as an influential actor in international cooperation, cultural interaction, and economic relations.